Tim with the team is going to explain what they do that side of the house so that this side of the house is happy. Tim.
Well, thank you very much, Beverly, and thanks for setting out the challenges. And thank you to all of you for coming along and joining us again at our AGM. I genuinely look forward to these occasions. It's just a great opportunity to bring people together face to face, to have those really important conversations that we need to have around how we can collaborate, what each other's doing, where our pressure points are, but also in the kind of maelstrom of change and challenge, some of which Beverly has just outlined. It's important that we stop and reflect and just remember that we are all of you in this room, in your respective organisations and Community First, are delivering some incredibly valuable, important work with people and communities that need our help the most. And, you know, if we give anybody a round of applause today, we should give all of ourselves a round of applause and recognise some of those achievements. You are working incredibly hard. Your work is extraordinary, and you should never lose sight of that. I think sometimes when you're writing funding bids, when you're developing new programs and initiatives, we're often thinking about what's next? We must change, we must challenge ourselves. We must, I do not deny that, we must challenge ourselves. We must constantly strive to do better, to be more effective and be more efficient. But we should never lose sight of the great work that we're all doing. And that we will continue to do. And you will all talk to your beneficiaries, the people that you're supporting and helping, and you will get, I'm sure, the most amazing feedback. And what I want to do just in the next sort of 20, 30 minutes is just reflect on some of the examples of impact and the difference that Community First is making. Some of that is with yourselves as our member organisations, and some of it is through the critical community services that we deliver. Just to set a bit of context and just to say a few things that I think are really critical for us at the moment. Our work and our bedrock and core business as Community First is all about empowering communities and galvanising you, our members, and the wider voluntary and community sector. We are needed more than ever. It feels tough at the moment. The pressures on the public purse outlined in the autumn statement by the Chancellor on Wednesday, the in-depth consultation that Hampshire County Council have already gone through with regard to pressure points on adult health and social care and children's services, just highlights how difficult the situation is around the public spending and investment in public services. We are not here to fill the gaps as organisations. We are here because we do things which public services can't, we reach people in ways which public services can't, and we deliver benefits which public services can't. So although we can, through the fantastic work that we all do around early intervention, prevention, and delivering critical community services, we can reduce the burden on those public services. We're not here because the Chancellor, of whatever political persuasion the Chancellor may be, has made decisions about what investments should and shouldn't be made. And again, I think that's a really important principle that we should value and reflect. I think the next, well, it's constant, but the next 2 to 3 years is going to be absolutely critical around volunteers. Volunteers are going to be, I've said this before at these occasions, they're the lifeblood of our organisations. Many of you in this room will be volunteers, whether that's for the organisation that you work for or engaged with. You'll be either management committee or trustees. You'll be rolling up your sleeves and volunteering for different organisations. It's amazing what people in the sector do. But unlocking and tapping into the potential for more people to volunteer is going to be crucial. And we're going to hear from a colleague around our volunteer service and what we're doing around some of that in a minute. We're here to support those. Our strapline is making life better for everyone. We will continue to do that. But increasingly, I think we're going to have to focus on helping those that are experiencing the most inequalities. Just this week, again, in the context of the autumn statement, we've heard about the pressures on getting people back to work. Those of a generation who have perhaps decided that work is too difficult or have made decisions because they are in poor health, have long-term conditions, or different abilities, which means that they need to work differently. Our Our job is to try and create opportunities for people, to try and support people. I'm a great believer in that everybody has a role to play, everybody can make an offer, but they need to do it in a way that is supportive and right for them. And that, again, is where the voluntary sector can come into our own, to maximise the ways in which we can engage people, including those with disabilities, including those with long-term health conditions, in meaningful work and in meaningful supported volunteering is going to be crucial. And tapping into much wider cohorts of people from businesses, from people in employment, as well as building on the work that we've done with young people around volunteering is also going to be crucial. To tackle and reduce some of those health and wealth inequalities that we continue to see. And actually, not only do we continue to see, but are continuing to grow. And that is just absolutely crucial that we continue a focus on that work. Now, one of the things that's enabled Community First to be successful, that Beverly alluded to and told the story of as to how we've got to where we are, is because of our scale. We make no apologies for being big, but we are managing centrally and delivering locally, and that is absolutely critical. That ability to be embedded and to work alongside and support local communities. We're not an organisation that takes a step back. We're big, we're strategic, we get our hands dirty, we deliver services in those communities that matter and that need the support. And we do that with yourselves as our member organisations and with a wide range of with partners. Again, partnerships and collaborations are going to be crucial. And again, you'll hear some examples of that in a minute. Pooling our talents, recognising that we've got some complementary offers to make. We don't need to be competitive as a sector. We can work together. There's plenty of work to do. I would go so far as to say there's plenty of funding, external funding, but we need to be better as a sector, smarter as a sector, and Community First needs to step up and lead the sector in securing more of that money for Hampshire's communities. So we are about reducing duplication, and we are about delivering results. We're now, I'm pleased to say, you're here for a premiere, you perhaps didn't realise, but of a short film which I hope reflects some of the work that Community First does. It's very difficult in short films to reflect everything that we do, but I hope gives you some ideas as to the things that we are working on. So I think it should play. Community First is a leading voice in the voluntary sector in Hampshire, working with over 1,000 volunteers, 450 partner and member organisations and 120 staff. We're committed to making life better for everyone. We operate at scale, having successfully brought together 5 infrastructure organisations with 2 service providers, enabling us to reduce some duplication, to manage centrally whilst deliver locally within our communities. This means that we can put more resource and more funding into frontline services. Our hubs in Lee Park and Clanfield are once again the beating heart of communities, offering support, offering places to meet, to socialise and to exercise. Community First wants everyone to take action on the things that matter to them. We strengthen and champion social action through effective voluntary sector infrastructure support and by delivering critical community services that make life better for everyone.
Our team works across all 5 of our areas and we support organisations in a number of ways, including with fundraising, governance, policies and procedure. We also act as a voice for the sector, so we take messages to statutory sector organisations. We run networking events, and one good example of that is the Local Children's Partnership, where we bring voluntary and statutory organisations together to support children and young people.
Operating across 70% of Hampshire, our transport and mobility services are a real lifeline to many people. We know that people experience isolation, that need to socialise, need to visit loved ones, or indeed need to attend critical health appointments, and our transport and other services enables people to do that. We also help people to access work and employment opportunities.
We have a range of mobility equipment, including mobility scooters, smaller ones and larger ones to support different people. We also have manual wheelchairs, and we also have smaller equipment which can break down into component parts, put in a boot so people can go away for the day, a weekend or a long holiday.
We have a range of volunteers. A couple of them have needs themselves and use scooters, so their input and their information that they bring to the service is invaluable. We could not run the service without them.
The Wheels to Work scheme is a moped loan scheme designed to help young people access employment opportunities by providing transport for them actually to physically get to their work. They might live in a rural area with no buses, or they might work shifts and they can't actually get to work if they find a job. So this enables them to actually have their own transport, be a little bit independent. They learn how to ride the bike legally and safely. We provide all the training.
Our key offering is Connect, a bus service connecting local residents with local resources, enabling them to access things like shopping and health appointments, as well as visits with friends, helping to combat social isolation. We also offer group hire services, enabling charities and community interest groups to access minibus hire services at rates far lower than commercial entities can offer, ensuring their vital funding can be utilised where it will have the most impact.
We run a free volunteering service, all managed on our website, Volunteer First. Volunteer First is truly a one-stop shop for helping you, as community members, find the perfect volunteering opportunity. There are so many reasons why people volunteer, so look no further than using our website and our specifically built-in search filters to really help us narrow down or widen exactly what it is you're looking for in a volunteering opportunity. And alternatively, if you're an organisation seeking volunteers for your charitable causes and campaigns, use our website because it's free and unlimited and a fantastic source for building up the army of volunteers that you need.
Positive Pathways is a programme that is designed to help the perhaps more vulnerable members of the community find a way of building their confidence so that they can become a little bit more successful in their life's pathway. So it could be people that are vulnerable in terms of their mental health, anxiety issues, there may be history of substance abuse. It's a volunteer-based programme, so people can come together, they can work as a group, they can feed off of the ideas and support of others.
The Warmer Forest Time Bank in Whitehill and Borden. We are a skill swapping service that enables the local community to help each other out an hour at a time, swapping skills like bleeding radiators, hemming curtains, dog walking and befriending each other. We run regular events, weekly coffee mornings, monthly meetups to enable people to come and meet each other, and essentially we are building the community 1 hour at a time.
Our Hampshire and Isle of Wight Social Prescribing Network and our local health and wellbeing forums are showcasing the work that voluntary organisations and charities do across Hampshire to help people to live happy and healthy lives. And our young carers in the New Forest are the very essence of resilience and determination that young people so often show when they're faced with extraordinary challenges.
New Forest Young Carers works with children and young people between the ages of 7 and 18 who have someone at home with a long-term illness or disability. So that could be anything from a dad with bipolar, a mum with MS, or a sibling with autism and behavioural problems. We help the young person understand the health problems at home, and then we do the fun stuff. We take them out and let them have time out from their caring responsibilities and time to meet other young carers and enjoy being a child.
So START is a support service for all victims and survivors of childhood sexual abuse and recent abuse, looking at trauma, and we actually have a number of services include online counselling, one-to-one counselling, we have psycho-educational programs, we also have a specialist team for EMDR counselling, and also a Lotus residential program which particularly looks at CSA, and that is the only one in the country. We also have a what's called a CYP, a Children and Young Persons team, that looks all for our under 18s team.
The service covers Fareham and the surrounding areas. All our home helps and gardeners are self-employed and they go to their clients regularly on a weekly basis, providing from an hour upwards, maybe once a week or twice a week, depending on individual needs. Our main aim is to try and keep people living as independently at home for as long as possible. We provide extra support for some of our clients who also have care support going in. So carers might go in and look after their personal needs, but we go in and we look after the household needs and the gardening.
Our Healthy Walk service provides a programme of different healthy walks across Winchester, Fareham and the New Forest. These are group-guided walks and they cater for all abilities. It's a fantastic opportunity for you to socialise with like-minded people and to keep fit, healthy and active.
We provide high quality, cost effective training for the volunteer sector, private businesses and individuals. We offer face-to-face, online and bespoke training in a variety of topics. We also offer a range of community essential courses which are free to members and cover a whole range of topics from governance to trustees to event planning.
So in response to the rising demand in our services and also in cuts and reductions in public sector funding, we've created an organisation that's capable of responding rapidly, but also in the long term building that voluntary sector infrastructure and support that is going to be so important to enable Hampshire communities to be as successful and vibrant in the future as they are today. I hope you enjoy this short film and finding out a little bit more about the support we provide for organisations and the services we provide for everybody across Hampshire. Do visit our website to find out more. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful in terms of painting a picture of a wide range of services and activities that we do. And when you put it on a slide and show all the different brands under the Community First family, then again, it's quite extraordinary and some really fantastic work. So I want to put a bit of flesh on the bone and ask a few of my fantastic team to come up and just paint a picture of some of the examples of the work that we're doing and the benefits that we're having. Just before I introduce them, I will just say that one of my erstwhile colleagues is not with us today. Hal Small, our Chief Operating Officer, who would normally be here, and many of you I know, has been rather unwell over the last few weeks. We wish Hal all the best and a speedy recovery. But without further ado, I'd like to start by introducing Debbie Grace and Jag Singh. Debbie is our Voluntary Sector Engagement Manager and Jag is our Lead Volunteer Service Coordinator. And they're just going to give you a bit of a flavour of the work we do with groups and with volunteers.
Thank you, Tim. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good morning. So you can see a map up on the screen there, and I'm just going to run through the different areas that we cover. So we cover an area of East Hampshire, and Gary isn't with us today, but he's one of my CD workers up there. He's a bit of a guru on governance, so everything to do with charities. Go and see Gary and he'll tell you whether you should be a charity, a CIO or a CIC. Also, Naomi, unfortunately, isn't here today. She covers Haven't. She's been doing a lot of work around fundraising. She's had the lottery come down, the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Community Foundation. And she and Gary have actually helped Wave on Hayling Island secure £190,000 worth of lottery-funded money to continue some of the youth services that they're running there. In Winchester, we have Bruce, who's been working with our Ukrainian population with Winchester City Council. We've got Lisa in the room, who's actually working in Fareham Borough Council and has recently put on an excellent showcase event. And Sarah from the New Forest, who's been doing work on the cost of living, community buildings, and also signposting to training. We've got representatives from the local children's partnerships here today, which I'm pleased to see. So we run that across all of our areas, and also the Time Bank. So I'm going to be here for the rest of the day. Please come and see us anytime during the day if you've got any questions. I'm going to hand over to Jag, who runs our volunteer service.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Hi, everybody. My name is Jag. I am the lead volunteering service here at Community First. And I just want to emphasise the one-stop shop offer that we operate here at Community First. What's become apparent, what's become evident, is that it can be really, really difficult for community members to find a volunteering opportunity. And equally, it can be really difficult for organisations to find those people that are passionate and willing. You could be advertising on your own websites. You could be using this power of social media and word of mouth. But why not give our platform a try? Many of you do. Nothing ventured, but so much to gain. There's no guarantee with volunteering, but what we can tell you is that there are a lot of passionate people out there that are willing to support your causes and campaigns. And not only individuals, but we're here to support groups of individuals, such as the corporate company pictured here, who we've helped support on their volunteering days. As they say, many hands make light work, and we want that to work for your organisation. And if you know of community members that are seeking volunteering opportunities, we're here to help them. Not just offering a flatline brokerage service, but also offering a promotional and developmental service when it comes to volunteering. Really encouraging, promoting, and advocating the message of volunteering and its benefits. We speak at so many different community platforms and spaces, and we also carry out our own volunteering events, as we have done this year. Our roadshow of volunteering events across our areas attracted over 300 people, all with one thing in common: passion and willingness. And as an organisation, our biggest bit of advice is to snap them up and treasure them. And so if you know anybody who wants to volunteer, and this may sound as cheesy as the sandwiches that you're going to eat at lunchtime, don't fear, because we're here to help you volunteer. Thank you.
If anybody's going to persuade you to volunteer, it's going to be Jag and his colleagues in our team. I'm convinced there are many more people out there that would volunteer given the right ask. One of the other things we're doing is to try and work collaboratively with organisations, because there's a tremendous amount of duplication. Everybody training volunteers, offering support to volunteers. If we can work together, we've got some ideas in Fareham and other areas to bring charity shops together to do single recruitment and training drive around volunteers, and also to try and passport volunteers between organisations, making it much easier for people to do a task with one organisation and then pick up a task with another organisation. So a snapshot of the work we're doing with the voluntary sector and on volunteering. Next, I'd like to invite Fabian Cook, who's our transport manager covering the South and Mid-Hampshire area. And Fabian, just to give a few words about some of the work we're doing to help people with transport. Fabian.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Tim. And yeah, as Tim says, I'm Fabian. I'm the transport manager for Fareham, Gosport, Havant, Winchester and the New Forest, as well as a little bit of Eastleigh. So obviously, as you can see on the slide behind me, 50,000 passengers that we've carried in the last year, which I think is an amazing number. I'd like to really highlight just one story of those 50,000. Walter, he's 91 years old. He lives in Horndean, he lives in Denmead, and his wife lives in a care home in Horndean. There's no buses in the area for him to go and see his wife. Getting a taxi every day, way too expensive. So Walter's daughter, Pat, contacted us to see how we could help. Now Walter gets to go and see his wife twice a week for a full afternoon. They get to spend time together that they couldn't before. And as you can see, the driver, Betty and Walter, have sort of really bonded and created this friendship now that really enables Walter to now see his wife Mary on such a regular basis. Moving forward, Mary is now going to start joining us on the buses as well. So the whole family are going to be able to go out, experience things together, travel and reconnect and really sort of combat that isolation that they were feeling before. It's such an amazing sort of service that we can provide. It's an amazing service we do provide, and it's something we want to carry on providing. Yeah, really, thank you very much for all being part of it.
It's just such a crucial service, the transport. Every conversation that I have and that we have with organisations and with some of our beneficiaries is all about how do we access services, how can we get to where we need. We're also delivering health appointments now, and that crucial connectivity that people need to reduce isolation and loneliness. Transport is without doubt one of the bedrocks of the voluntary sector around helping people. And we want to work with other organisations. We want to know what you and your beneficiaries need. I'm convinced we can help and do more than we're doing. Yes, transport is one of those. In Hampshire's budget that is proposed to be cut, the subsidy for the community transport. We're putting together some plans for how we can continue to deliver transport, and we're having some really proactive and positive conversations with a number of partners and organisations. So again, please do talk to myself or Fabian if you'd like to be part of that conversation. I'd now like to just move on to some of our health and wellbeing work, and we deliver a whole range of things. In the video, you heard me talk about the social prescribing networks and the support we provide for health and wellbeing forums. I think we've got upwards of 300 members of the social prescribing network now. We've got over 130 members in the Fareham and Gosport Health and Wellbeing Forum, and approaching 100 members in the Haventon, East Hampshire. We're delivering some really valuable work, and that thematic grouping of organisations, bringing people together, leading the agenda, yes, inviting our partners from the Integrated Care Board and from Adult Health and Social Care to be part of the conversation, but it's voluntary sector driven and voluntary sector led, which is crucial. But there's a whole range of work we do around health and wellbeing. We deliver some home services, really powerful, important work, keeping people well and in their own homes across Fareham and some other areas. And a whole range of work around tackling health inequalities. But the one I wanted to just focus on specifically was a very specialist service that we've delivered that we're incredibly proud of. It's not a service we often talk about, and it can be uncomfortable to talk about it because it's START. It's our sexual trauma and restorative therapy service, which tackles and helps people to address the significant issues arising from being victims of sexual abuse and sexual violence. It's based in Winchester, but covers a much wider area of North and across mid-Hampshire. We're very proud of the service and delighted that Steve Withyman is joining us today and will say a few words about some of the benefits that's having to our beneficiaries.
Thank you, Tim. So I'm Steve, I'm the manager at START, and as Tim said, it stands for Sexual Trauma and Abuse Restorative Therapies, and that's quite a mouthful, which is why we call ourselves START. And one of the programs we run is called Lotus. Now, Lotus is a residential program, it's a retreat, and we take away around 5 or 6 survivors of CSA, that's childhood sexual abuse. And I just want to read you a poem of one of the survivors that attended Lotus. I'm going to call her Kate, that's not her real name, but she's given permission for me to share this poem with you. The poem itself is her journey, her trauma journey, and she's written it not for you, but she's happy to share it, but for herself. The poem itself is called The Current, and there's a couple of things I need to just put in context. She makes a reference to a dry riverbed. Now, the dry riverbed is where she's come from or where she wants to get back to. It's her terra firma, if you like. It's her solid ground. So when you listen to that, you need to take that into account. And in her poem, her trauma is represented by water. So again, if you could take that into consideration. There's a couple of lines in the poem which says about her treading water. Now, I say it's only a couple of lines in the poem. It's not a long poem. But those 2 lines represent 30 years of her life. So you just need to bear that in mind. She's in her early 40s now, but those 2 lines are like 30 years of her life. So I'm going to read the poem to you. I'd invite you, if you want to close your eyes while you listen to the poem. You don't have to, but if you do, you might listen to the words and also get the context. And if you do close your eyes, try and imagine that dry waterbed, and then you might feel how she felt. Okay, so it's for those that want to close their eyes, please do it now. And this is called The Current. Droplets form, they build, they grow. Down they fall, starting slow. Raindrops plummet, falling fast. It's starting to overcast. Streams trickle, waters